Hello again, my fellow patriots. In this video, we are discussing the jobless benefits and the stimulus. Yeah. Now, in my opinion, I say, go ahead and give everybody another little stimulus check. Give them a little extra oomph to give the economy another little boost. But as far as the jobless benefits, no. I don't believe that people should be getting them anymore. In the beginning, maybe, whenever everything was shut down and a lot of people, lost their jobs and stuff. Yeah, then I can kind of understand. But this is October. They just added 661,000 jobs just last month alone. They don't really need another benefits. Well, so I'm kind of torn because, I can understand some people having a hard time finding a job. My wife just found a job and started working again last week. But they don't need as big of a benefit if they get another one, because a lot of people were making more money on the benefits than they were actually working. And if you watch my other video that I put out yesterday, that's an incentive for people not to work. Why do you want to go to work if you're making more money by sitting at home? Give them a smaller benefit. Give them a couple $100. That'll put the average person at around $500 to $600. That's counting what they would be getting from the state. But don't be giving them, something that's going to give them over $1,000 a week, because then they damn sure ain't going to go to work. They're going to stay home. Make it so they have an incentive to go back to work. I feel for the people who are seriously struggling. I've struggled before in my life too. I mean, trust me. I know what it's like. But you can't give people incentives to stay home and not go to work, because then they won't. But let's see what CNBC says about it. Key points. House Democrats passed a $2.2 trillion measure last week that would extend a $600 weekly unemployment supplement through January. See, now that right there, one thing that places won't tell you, or you got to dig a little bit to find, is that whenever the jobless benefits expired at the end of July, Trump wanted to extend it. He wanted to give people an extra payment so they all could, everybody in Congress and stuff could come up with a new plan to continue the benefits. It wasn't going to be, $600 extra, but Trump was wanting to extend it so until they could come up with, a remedy for it. But good old Nancy Pelosi crossed her arms. No. So you can thank Pelosi for that. The White House has proposed a $1.6 trillion measure providing a $400 weekly enhancement. That's pretty good. Even if something passes, lawmakers would likely have to negotiate again in a few months' time, one expert said. Oh, speak of the devil. Democrats and Republicans still seem unable to find common ground on enhanced unemployment benefits, more than 2 months after the expiration of a prior $600 weekly subsidy that had buoyed household incomes for millions. Well, I know it helped, but like I said, people ain't going to work if they make more money sitting home. White House officials and senior congressional Democrats are still trying to hammer out details of a fifth financial relief package to help counter the negative economic effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Unemployment benefits appear to be a key striking point in the negotiations. A key sticking point, despite consensus in other areas like stimulus checks and aid for small businesses. Now, like I said, stimulus checks, give everybody, another little stimulus. That way it'll help them with, any kind of little back bills that they might have. Or, just get them to go out and spend the money and, economy. Woohoo. But small businesses, yeah, they need help. Now, that's certain small businesses. One, I believe it was, I read it like almost a month ago, a church, whenever they was giving out those big loans and stuff like that to businesses. A church got how much was it? I think it was almost 40 million. It was unreal. It was unreal. I mean, don't quote me on that fact because, like I said, it's been a month ago, but they got millions, in the millions. I know that. And this is for a church. Churches are generally, they don't have to pay taxes or anything else. And I can understand maybe getting some, to help with expenses and stuff like that, but no, they played the system on that. I think they got in trouble, which they should have. But they need people who will actually do some, research into these big places and, not give them more than they need. But more than 26 million Americans were receiving jobless benefits as of mid-September, according to most recent data from the U.S. Labor Department. House Democrats narrowly passed a $2.2 trillion relief package on Thursday that would extend a $600 a week supplement to unemployment benefits through January 2021. The Democrats want you to stay home. They don't want you to work. They will pay you to stay home. Now, why, you might ask? Well, because they want socialism. They want you in the palm of their hands. So that way, you have to do whatever they say. They pay you to stay home and do whatever. Awesome. Hell yeah. A lot of people be up on that. Until they say, okay, well, you need to do this now. And you say no. And they say, well, if you don't, then we're going to take away your weekly allowance. Then what are you going to do? You don't have a choice. And they want you to get like food stamps and stuff like that, so that way they can say, oh, you don't want to do this? Well, okay, well, we'll take away your food stamps and then you won't be able to eat or you won't be able to feed your family. You think I'm just joking or I'm just trying to push an agenda? No, that's literally what they want. They want you to need them. They want you to have to rely on them. So that way, you have to do what they say. They will have ultimate control over you. Like I said, you don't believe me? Look at Germany in the 1940s. Look at North Korea. That's what these people want. Federal lawmakers had enacted that weekly enhancement as part of the $2.2 trillion CARES Act relief law in March. The subsidy ended at the end of July. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin proposed a $1.6 trillion measure last week in negotiations with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi that would include a $400 a week unemployment supplement. That aid would reportedly last through December. Senate Republicans have previously proposed a $1.1 trillion measure in July that offered an extra $200 a week in jobless benefits. Now, that one I can kind of get behind. And I mean, you have to think, though. You've got to think. This money just isn't coming out of thin air. This is going against, like our national debt and everything. They can't, and people think, oh, well, they can just print more money. No, because the more you do that, the less your money is worth. We'll be like the damn peso here soon if we did that. The money would be almost freaking worthless. It's unclear whether congressional Republicans will support a $400 a week policy or a bill with an overall price tag as high as the White House proposal. Negotiations are ongoing, according to a White House spokesman. The White House continues to reach out to Democrats in good faith to try and reach a deal on delivering relief to American workers. Yeah, I don't... a lot of the Republicans have been trying to reach out and work with old Pelosi, but she keeps crossing her arms and stomping her feet, saying, no, I want it my way. It has to be my way. She doesn't want to negotiate with anybody. She wants things her way, and that's that. Some experts remain hopeful lawmakers can still come to an agreement, especially as unemployment remains high 7 months into the economic crisis and the presidential election looms in the month's time. It's coming, people. I think there is tremendous pressure on both sides to pass something, said Michael Evermore, a senior policy analyst at the National Employment Law Project. Nobody wants to go home and campaign on, we didn't give you anything. They just gave you 661,000 jobs last month. Republicans have criticized the supplement as a disincentive to return to work, since it paid many people more than they'd earned on the job. While anecdotal evidence suggests this may have been the case for some businesses, numerous economic studies found that, in aggregate, the $600 enhancement didn't discourage people from looking for work or accepting job offers. That's BS. I read a story about a woman who owned a spa. She got to go ahead to open up her business again, and she got a little bit of extra, the relief money to open up the business. Well, she had been closed down. She didn't fire her workers, but, they were on leave. They didn't work. They were getting the unemployment, and she called them up, and they went off on her. They told her, no, she better not do that because they're making more money off of the unemployment than they would be working for her. She said it shocked her. She couldn't believe it. It left her speechless. They literally yelled and went off the wall on her. I mean, so that's pretty bullcrap. And I know there are a lot more stories like that around the internet if you just look. Expanded unemployment benefits from the CARES Act appear to be an important source of aggregate stimulus rather than an impediment to labor market improvement, according to a paper published last month by the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Democrats want to extend the $600 weekly payments, which come on top of state-allotted aid, to help bolster consumer spending and the U.S. economy as signs have emerged that the recovery is sputtering. We still have a massive gap in the labor market and job growth is slowing, said Heidi Scherholz, Director of Policy at the Economic Policy Institute and a former chief economist at the Department of Labor during the Obama administration. Lord. Yeah, according to this, looks like they're slowing down a bit, but, I mean, The unemployment rate fell to 7.9% in September. That's less than 8%. Added 661,000 jobs, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Friday. That rate is down from a 14.7% peak in April. So that's almost half. It's dropped by almost half. The highest recorded since the Great Depression. And you know, Biden wants this again. He's already said it. If he's elected, he will shut down the entire country for 3 months. What do you think that's going to do to the U.S.? That is going to drop the unemployment rate to, dear God, I don't even know what. It sure as heck will be a hell of a lot bigger than 14.7%, I can tell you that. You know, shutting down the entire nation. Bye-bye economy. Bye-bye U.S. way of life. You talking about a Great Depression? This will make the Great Depression look like just a little tiny blip on the radar. The U.S. cannot shut down. We cannot. Cannot sustain ourselves. But this is what the Democrats want, though. They want everything to shut down and just to hand you money so you have to rely on them. There are 10.7 million fewer jobs now than in February before the pandemic-induced recession, according to the Bureau. The true figure likely exceeds 12 million jobs when factoring in prevailing monthly job growth trends that had been occurring pre-pandemic, Schierholz said. President Donald Trump appears intent on passing another relief package before the November election. Our great USA wants and needs stimulus. Work together and get it done, Trump tweeted Saturday from Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, where he'd been receiving treatment for COVID-19. The Trump administration had enacted a lost wages assistance program in August that offered a $300 weekly supplement to unemployment benefits for up to 6 weeks, paid for with federal disaster relief funds. A few states paid an extra $100 for a total of $400. Workers in some states haven't yet received that aid, however, due to administrative delays, and hundreds of thousands of workers, primarily low-income and part-time workers, weren't eligible for that money due to program guidelines. If Congress and the White House reach a deal on unemployment benefits, a relief measure may be delayed by lack of common ground elsewhere, like additional aid for state and local government, and extra jobless aid would likely only last for a few months. I do think there's been some progress made, and now it's down to whether they'll get something all the way through, Andrew Stetner, a senior fellow at the Century Foundation, said on Relief Talks. Even if this thing passes, they'll have to come back to it in December or January. That's it. So, yeah, I mean, it's... You know, I get that COVID shut down a lot of stuff, and, you know, kind of going back to my previous video about that journalist at The Guardian, when she was describing Trump and putting everybody at risk. You know, you look at some statistics here. There's been 7,690,352 cases. There have been 215,238 deaths, with 4,909,966 people recovered. Now, that means that there is a 4% mortality rate. You know, 4% of people, on average, who get the virus die from it. But what they don't really tell you is that a lot, probably 3/4 of those people, didn't initially die from the coronavirus itself. most of them had underlying health conditions. Bad heart, respiratory problems, stuff like that. And they actually died from that, but it was also as a result of them, getting the virus and making things exponentially worse. But they attribute it to the coronavirus that's killing them rather than the other conditions. Realistically, as long as you're a fairly healthy person, you've got probably close to a 99% chance of surviving it. I mean, yes, it's sad that 215,000 people have died from it. But, try to take care of yourself. I mean, I'm a bit overweight. I've had a heart problem since birth. And if I get it, I'm fairly confident that I'll recover from it. I mean, as long as you're a decently healthy person, you should be pretty fine. Also, a lot of those deaths are from people in nursing homes. Yeah, old Cuomo did, putting infected people in the nursing homes and saying, oh, those are learning curve. If you needed a daggone learning curve to know that elderly people are at extremely high risks of dying, even from the flu, but yet you're going to put infected people in nursing homes and expect them all to be fine. If you really needed a learning curve to know that, then you shouldn't be leading anything. You should be working at damn McDonald's asking people if they want fries with that. You have no business leading a daggone state or city or anything if you needed a learning curve to tell you that. That shows a severe lack of intelligence. And then he turns around and tries to blame it on Trump. Come on. It's always someone else's problem with these damn Democrats. Always someone else's problems, never their own. They don't take responsibility for anything. Like the damn old Mayor Lightfoot of damn Chicago, where weekly or weekend killings are, 50 people, at least 50 people shot usually every weekend, and 10 or 12 of them die. I mean, and this has been the norm for quite a long time. Well, that's not her fault. What has she done to stop it? Nothing. Oh, that's people just, expressing themselves. It's all Black Lives Matter and, all that. No, it's not. That's your severe lack of leadership. That's you wanting to get nothing done. That's you letting people destroy your city and then surrounding your home with crap tons of police officers because you're afraid they're going to show up to your door. That's pretty damn sad. Protection for you, but nobody else. Yeah. I think that's probably considered like an abuse of power, using the police as your own personal security guards. But, yeah, I'll leave it there. The unemployment, it's not a good thing. It was in the beginning, but it's not now. Jobs have started to come back. Like I said, 661,000 were added just last month alone. Jobs are out there if you're willing to find them. You might not get a glamorous job, or you might not get a job as good as you had one before, but they're out there. Go work at a factory somewhere. Go work at, a Family Dollar or something. It's better than nothing. But you keep on giving people these daggone $600 weekly benefits, and they're not going to go back to work. You're really going to see jobs go down, no matter how many they add. As long as people keep getting these high benefits, they're not going to go back to work. If you want to give them $600, get rid of their base unemployment. The $300 and some that they get on top of the $600, get rid of that. Give them just the $600. Do that. You know, if you give people over $1,000 damn dollars a month or close to it, they're not going to go back to work. America will not be able to sustain itself. You can't keep on giving out more money than what you're going to be getting back in taxes. You know, you can't do it, and you can't just keep adding to the daggone national debt and everything. Good Lord. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's a video I got for you right now. Stay vigilant. I will see y'all in the next one.